Okay, abusuya chairman Wontumi naso aye papa. Chief Justice BaffoeBonnie abusuya odi nsem bi aba abetuja ensem odi tuja no abusuya atuja anase ede asudie bi akwakoto NPP appointees are involved in illegal mining galamsey abusuya. And illegal mining and no chairman Wontumi akonta mining court. And chairman Wontumi na akonta mining na court no abusuya. Sisi attorney general cha oba be set fast track court wedi kan mbrɛ but afeina fast track court no anopa awia enumre 24-hour court system ena Chief Justice BaffoeBonnie abusuya oba be setting up they are prosecuting those involved in illegal mining cases abusuya ye be pese be makɔ na yakwakotie asema Chief Justice BaffoeBonnie edituda na yeba yede akaba beto amso.
In my bid to tackle congestion in courts, we have decided that we are going to set up dual morning and afternoon court system. And some judges will sit in the morning and other judges will sit in the afternoon. We intend to create special courts, and they are going to be rolled out coming Monday. These special courts are going to deal with cybercrime, galamsey, human trafficking, In my bid to tackle congestion in courts, we have decided that we are going to set up dual morning and afternoon court system. And some judges will sit in the morning and other judges will sit in the afternoon. We intend to create special courts, and they are going to be rolled out coming Monday. These special courts are going to deal with cybercrime, galamsey, human trafficking, In my bid to tackle congestion in courts, we have decided that we are going to set up dual morning and afternoon court system. And some judges will sit in the morning and other judges will sit in the afternoon. We intend to create special courts, and they are going to be rolled out coming Monday. These special courts are going to deal with cybercrime.
So that's the Chief Justice there. Let's
Abusuya Chief Justice BaffoeBonnie and I training can or this asam no etuja or chair or say 24-hour court fast track court system no be adwuma brutal because or the wa illegal mining no esibi cost na omo ntu omo na ya ensi foma emwa intino court system no fast track court system no and many ya omo ba be implement na echese chairman Wontumi ne nkofo akonta mining cases no ye the chairman Wontumi akwakotwene na abusuya we na chairman Wontumi ete asem no ordinance aguniti obi muwame abusuya chairman Wontumi ordinance aguniti because Chief Justice BaffoeBonnie say oka obeye with the NDC for the car say oka obey you oka obey BaffoeBonnie abusuya and I attending car or this are and 72 and I'm paying for being so attentive the and 170 about to Mommy and corner, young conquity and some course. So unsubscribe, subscribe, like, and share my Afro so answer into me and Kabi. Aha, a Gossip Politics TV. And don't forget to click on the notification bells and if there are any updates we ever dropping on. Also, once a bit to me, Aka, Madam Ase.
The Chief Justice there. Let's go on to Zoom now. Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe is the convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey and it's connecting with us right now. Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Alfred. How are you?
Well, thank you. So thank you for asking. Now, you hear the Chief Justice clear in his words timelines to when these specialized courts will start, because this is not the first time we're hearing this. If you recall, the president did give some indication of a sort when there were these engagements last year on the fight against galamsey. Now we're hearing from the Chief Justice that by Monday, these specialized courts will kick in live. And that is also meant to deal with this backlog of cases, galamsey being one of the major ones. How does it strike you?
Well, Alfred, we've been waiting for this for too long a time. You know, the offer was made last year, and now we hear the Chief Justice give a timeline to it. Monday is just a few days away. Again, we would want to see how, these courts would operate and how it would result in speedy trial of some of these cases that have been stuck in the courts. And so we take it with cautious optimism, hoping that it would deliver what exactly we are hoping it would do. But you know that it's not just the issues of the courts. It starts from the arrest to the investigators and to the prosecutions. We're hoping that our police people would take the criminals or the suspected criminals that will be arrested through the Minerals and Mining Act and not be using any trespass or anything. And then our judges would also do a good job and would have speedy trials and will also not just be dealing with, the small fishes, but the kingpins that His Excellency the President promised in October 2024. We're going to be able to see these people being prosecuted as well.
And one of the concerns I recall, well, maybe not concerns, but one of the issues that the Attorney General raised sometime last year, in fact, when the President met the CSOs, you were there at that meeting at the Jubilee House on the same matter of galamsey. The Attorney General did indicate that you arrest these illegal miners, you take them to court, they are granted bail, and the next moment they are seen back at the same illegal mining site where they were arrested. I mean, how would this, from where you sit, address this challenge that he talked about?
Well, I think it's a major problem. And you see, Alfred, you need to go back to the days of Operation Vanguard, for example. We're recording less than 10% prosecution, and convictions were even less. And then we know the number of arrests that the NIMOS have been able to do. How many of that have been able to been successfully prosecuted? The wheels of justice, seem to move too extra slow when it comes to the issues of galamsey. So we are hoping that now that there's a specialized court, the Chief Justice would also pay attention to it, so that the judges who will be handling these cases themselves will know that the Chief Justice is watching, all of us are watching, and so that the cases, all the cases that, we've reported, we would then be able to see some prosecution. And you see, once we get prosecutions happen, it also then becomes a deterrent. And then hopefully, because these are also specialized courts, we would have judges who understand the laws so far as the Minerals and Mining Act is concerned, and they would apply them. Bear in mind, some time back, there was a Takwa court where there were some Chinese that had been arrested. When prosecution was done, the judge gave them the minimum sentence for Ghanaians. That's what he gave to foreigners, and so we are hoping, which was just a fine, which they paid like a ticket. So we are hoping that our judges who will be sitting there would bear in mind that these are existential threats that face us. And so when the cases come, they would make sure that they are exacting the maximum punishment. We need to ensure that when our foreigners, they serve their sentences before, if they are going to be deported, they are deported. You see, justice should not only be done, but should be seen to be done, and should be done expeditiously.
Let's see. Now, as of end of last year, we're told almost 2,000 illegal miners had been arrested from January last year to the end of December. A number of them have been arraigned before court. So if we're talking about fixing that problem of the backlog of cases, we should also be looking at the prisons, is it not? Because if all of these persons who are arrested would have to be imprisoned after the guilt has been established, that's also going to create another challenge at that end, isn't it?
Well, definitely that's the case. And again, I'm just hoping that in doing all of this, we will be looking for the root causes. So in the prosecutions that would be done, the Attorney General and his prosecutors and the state attorneys would be able to use a lot of the the pawns that are in these games that might be arrested, to be able to get the knights, the queens, and the kings, who are behind this, so that, we're not just going to be imprisoning these little ones who are in there to eke a living. Yes, they've committed the crimes, but we should be able to use that, to lure and then be able to get the root causes. These politically exposed people, these influential people, these organized criminals who are behind it. So yes, I agree with you that we need to make sure, we're clearing we're unplugging our prisons. So we should not be giving people whose sins are misdemeanors, custodial sentences. But these, hardened galamsey criminals, especially the kingpins who are involved in this, they are the ones who should be serving the steep, custodial sentences. And I'm just also hoping that this whole thing of community service that we've been talking about as also being able to come, then they're not too serious cases, the misdemeanors and all of that. Community cases, sentences could then be done. And then these people who are really impacting upon our existence as a people, they would be given the stiffer custodial sentences. And then another thing that Alfred would do for us is that all the several excavators that have been confiscated, and all of these equipment, that are seized in the theaters of these crimes, that we've not been able to do forfeiture for. The courts, once they find them guilty, we can get forfeiture and then we can deploy them into some better use.
I see. Now, there's a trend, and this is going to be my final point. There's something I have observed over the period with the NIMOS's operations in these illegal mining areas. Before they get there, it's either the illegal miners have gotten wind of they are coming, and so they run away. They leave that site even before NIMOS gets there. Or in some cases, as we've seen with the Forestry Commission guards, they get these illegal mining sites. They don't even arrest them because they are a lot in this Bawumia area, thousands. Mm-hmm. So they had to rather burn down this settlement and then disperse them. From what we're hearing, these illegal miners at Bawumia who were dispersed after their location was burned down have converged again. They're coming back. They're coming back to do it. That's a big challenge, is it not?
No, it's definitely a big challenge. But there was a solution. You mentioned the engagement that we had with His Excellency the President, the CSOs. In that meeting, NIMOS had told us specifically that they were going to, one of their strategies was to set up permanent bases in these places, so that they are not just going and coming back like they are currently doing, but it looks as if they've not been provided the resources. So our appeal to His Excellency the President is that 150 million cedis that have been offered to NIMOS in the budget should be released, so NIMOS can have permanent bases within these places. Our forest reserves, our water bodies, they can permanently, so Bawumia, for example, you need to have a permanent base in there, so that when you go into these places, you then can hold the force that are there, because they are supposed to be there, they're not supposed to be leaving. Again, the Forestry Commission has also started a project where now they are building permanent bases, very strong bases within, some of their forest reserves. That's also something that should be encouraged. And I would urge His Excellency the President, the Minister of Finance, that the resources that are required to make sure that the NIMOSs have their permanent bases, the forestry people also have their permanent bases, and then we make the forestry guards, we make them a paramilitary organization. Make sure we provide them with superior firepower compared to what these illegal miners are having, so that then we can consolidate it. So once you go in there, you clear the people, you're able to deal with it. It also would mean that in terms of, some of these attacks where they ran off, the element of surprise is going to be important. Recently, we saw NIMOS get into a place in the eastern region. After trekking several kilometers and getting there, the people were able to swim to the other side. What is happening with our deployment of the Navy? What is happening with our deployment of the Air Force? So that sorties could be flown over these places, and then we'll make sure that we're arresting these people. And we should be using a lot more of the intelligence community to be able to strengthen our fight of it. So I am pretty sure that if you left it for the military, if you give them all the resources that are required, permanent basis in this particular places, we would be able to deal with it constructively than we are currently doing. These things where they have to travel into those particular places and then the tip-offs will be done and all of that would then become a thing of the past.
Thank you, Engineer Dr. Kanashigbe. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I know that this Wontumi case is one that you've also been following quite closely. You have keen interest in them. What we're hearing today is that the state has closed this case after leading the 4 witnesses to testify against Bernardine Pr0sécut. And I want to find out quickly your own thoughts about this particular development, because what we're hearing is that Chairman Wontumi's lawyers have decided that, look, the minimum threshold of evidence has not even been proven so far after these 4 persons that were filed or presented by the Attorney General have been cross-examined. So he shouldn't even speak at all. What's your take on this?
Well, it would be a shame if, with all the evidence that we had collected all the way from 2022 all the way to this time, it would be a crying shame if the prosecution are not able to do a good job. Well, we still would be watching, and it's a place that we really are watching, because again, I'm not a lawyer, but again, if you look at all the evidence that we had, and in terms of the conversations that we have had with the lawyers and with some of the prosecutors, in terms of the evidence that was available right away from 2022, when he was caught mining in the Tanonimre Forest Reserve and also breaching the buffer policy, there was ample evidence. And again, we saw that the Prime Minister for Lands and Natural Resources himself had also done some extra work that had been done. I am confident in the Attorney General. I'm just hoping that the state attorneys that are handling this particular case do a good job. Again, that's why I was telling you that the thing about the whole prosecution thing does not only start with the judges or with a special court. It starts all the way from the evidence that were gathered, the investigators that have been working on this, and then the prosecutors and the way the cases are done. So all of us are watching, and I'm happy the media is also paying attention to it, and so that we ensure that cases like this, we deal with them. But it's not only Chairman Wontumi's case. The other politically exposed persons whose cases we have not seen. If you take the Professor Frimpong-Boateng report, for example, it's replete with a lot of politically exposed persons who are in it. The Attorney General, in the meeting you referred to with the SOs with His Excellency the President, had promised us that investigations that was being done. What is happening to that as well? To be able to deal with this issue of galamsey, we need to deal with the politically exposed persons who are involved in this. And so these are issues that we're hoping that will be dealt with. So we are watching, and some of the lawyers who are involved in the coalition and as well, keep on explaining some of these things to us. And we want to ensure that the right thing is that justice has to be served.
Thank you so much for joining us. And
okay, I was going to answer my also our political highway. So a year, Paul BaffoeBonnie and Chairman Wontumi I contamine and Honsensem and the Bremer Beramasi, some of Japan Cocotiza and some way at my gossip politics TV. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so that any updates be ever dropping on so a bit to me.